welcome to the Lowdown Mortgage Podcast, the show where we dive deep into the topics that directly impact the mortgage architects that are building design into their business to unlock scale and achieve freedom. I'm your host, Connor Bartley. Bam! And joining me today is someone who spent 25 years in the industry, survived 5 company closures with a loyal team still intact, and developed a very clear point of view on why this business keeps getting in its own way. He's a technician who believes the real edge in this industry isn't found on the rate sheet. Mike Burke, welcome to the Lowdown.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I really appreciate you joining me on the show. It's been a little bit of a journey behind the scenes. We've tried this once or twice with a few misfires. I don't know, technical difficulties, things like that. So here we are. Finally, and I'm excited.
I'm not known for my technical prowess.
Hey, it probably wasn't you, it was probably me, whatever it was, but we're here nonetheless, and I'm excited for others to get to know you because it's been a pleasure on my part to get to know you, and I just kind of want to just jump right in. I'm not one to waste any time, and so you got started professionally on the financial services side of things. You were a trader before you got into mortgages.
That is correct.
When you look back at that time and what that world got right about just taking care of its people and the culture side of things, what does the mortgage industry still refuse to learn from that? Like, what are we getting wrong in mortgage?
I think what I've noticed the most is I first started out at Merrill Lynch. Was recruited with, I would say, like 20 guys. They decided to put a lot of time into us. So they trained us. It wasn't like, I feel like in the mortgage industry right now, it's a lot of horse trading. You kind of like, you find the best guy. As soon as you get him, hopefully it works out. If it doesn't work out, well, then you're just moving on to the next guy. I felt like with Merrill Lynch, there was a plan. I shouldn't even say Merrill Lynch, just in the industry. There was a plan to move these guys from straight out of college, not knowing a thing, into some more financial prowess in the industry. And then eventually, like there was sales training, there was technical training, there was product training, and it continued. And they paid us a little bit. So we didn't have such a small window to figure it out. And if you don't figure it out, then you better move. Because, I'm not saying that we got rich working for Merrill Lynch when we first came out, but we made small little salaries. They took care of our lunches, they took care of our training, stuff like that. So I felt like that was the big difference between the two industries.
Yeah. Well, I see that a lot in mortgage. There's a reputation in the industry of, here's your license, here's a rate sheet, go get them, kiddo. And it's a sink or swim business. I'm curious your thoughts on this. Where does the responsibility fall in terms of like training and development of new talent? Is it on the organization or is it more so on the branch manager or the leader that is hiring that individual? I'm curious your thoughts, or how would you design that training and development process?
Well, I think it's a little split. I mean, ultimately it is the organization. They are the one hiring you. They are the ones paying out the money or putting in the time. But ultimately, I think we all make our decisions based on what the branch manager or the regional manager, whatever manager structure there is in that corporation, we all make our decisions, at least I believe, in the mortgage industry based on our manager. If the manager kind of like, he hires you and then all of a sudden you're all excited, and then he's like, yeah, he kind of forgets about you. That's not the organization's fault. They have paid the branch manager to be responsible for bringing in these people and kind of catering them through the different aspects of the corporation. A lot of even disenchanted, I believe, loan officers, it's not with the organization, it's with the communication that's come through management. The organization could have a perfect platform, but it's the communication that comes through management to the loan officer, which usually causes the issue, I believe.
Right. Well, you hear the saying out there that, people don't leave companies, they leave leaders, and they go to join someone else who might be more inspiring, that can be more supportive, that can be more educational and give them the tools that they need to get to that next level. And so I think that you make a really valid point. Ultimately, the organization is evaluating leadership, and leadership is then trickling down into, what's in the field. And so I think that's makes perfect sense.
I
But
also don't give them a complete pardon because at the end of the day, the branch manager is responsible to keep hiring and building.
Mhm.
Now, if you were to think long term past the 18 months, I'm sure the ROI would increase if you had a happy employee and your branch manager was doing less recruiting and more of helping the individual meet his needs or her needs, and for the company and the loan officer to almost come together. That, in our industry, the branch manager recruit, grow. At some point, we make decisions and we're like, all right, yeah, he's a $5 million producer. I'm sure he's going to do better next year. But the truth of the matter is, who's gonna kind of mess up the cogs in the engine is the lower producer because he doesn't really know. So that's where the corporation, that's their fault too, is maybe maybe pure growth might come from less build in the branch and maybe just
Mm.
pure quality over quantity.
Sure. Yeah, you bring up a great point there. I know you feel you still produce
Yes.
and lead a team, and I know you've expressed to me that producing managers and being a producing manager is important to you to show there's skin in the game, that you still got a foot in that part of the business and have some credibility. But I want to let you kind of articulate your thoughts on that a little bit more. Like, why is it important for leader or a branch manager to stay in the production side of things?
Well, I think anybody's in the industry knows we've all sat across the table from a manager at whatever level it might be, and they honestly have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. They know the corporate speak, but they don't know the minutia of being a loan officer. And I think that I connect with a loan officer because every day I deal with the same kind of stuff that they do. I deal with the VOEs, operations taking vacations, or I mean, sometimes you have a bad underwriter, sometimes you have a bad loan officer. There's just stuff that happens. And the truth of the matter is, when I'm sitting across the table from a recruit or from one of my employees, I know what they're going through. I know what they're talking about. And now I don't know the answers to everything, but I have a lot of input. I know, like, you know what? I came across that last year. Now, the way Fannie and Freddie always change their guidelines and their rules, sometimes it's not effective, but they know that I'm in the fight with them. So on top of us, I believe that you have to have like an emotional connection with each other. I think you also need to have kind of a technical, like the person has to know that you know what you're talking about. And that's where a great relationship comes together. I think that's why I've been blessed to have my team stick with me so long. I mean, through a lot of thick and thin.
Yeah, I wanted to go into that because I wanted to give you a chance to kind of maybe brag on yourself a little bit. But, something that stood out to me, I mentioned it in the introduction. You've been through 5 company closures, and there's a member of your team that has been with you for 12 years, stayed
Yes.
loyal, stayed on the team. That to me speaks volumes about who you are as a leader. Why do you think people have stayed with you as long as they have?
I think because I am in the fire with them. So I get very involved in helping. I love getting in. There's nothing better than hopping on the phone and trying to save a deal or figure out a restructure or whatever. At some point, like, hey, listen, there's nothing we can do. We're going to have to walk away from this patient. But I think it's because, I mean, I'm not just there to collect the whatever override on their loans. I'm involved with their family. We talk about personal things. We talk about business. Eventually I become friends with a lot of, I don't think of them as like my employees. They're just kind of my coworkers. I'm just kind of the guy that was at the tip of the spear. I got lucky. I was at the tip of the spear. Most of the decisions I make, I know, like, you get a call from a company and they're like, yeah, you need to bring your whole team over here. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. Like, I call the whole team. I'm like, hey, here's the pros and cons of the different organizations. What do you guys think? And we go with basically a majority, I would say. And that's how
I love that.
That's how my team works. It's not like, hey guys, I really know what I'm talking about. I mean, if I did, we probably wouldn't pick
Just
5
trust
companies
me.
that closed. So I
Yeah.
would say that we do it more as like we really are a team, and it's not like a branch manager and loan officer routine.
Right. Well, and you shared a story with me that I thought was great. It was, and I can't recall the company, but it was a previous stop along the way. You were at an awards trip in the Bahamas, and leadership came to you and wanted to talk with you, not about production, not about business, but about family and whether you needed more help at home. What did that moment teach you about just leadership and the culture of
That's
company and
that's the
how,
kind of which ultimately that was one of the first companies that closed. That was Eagle Home Mortgage, which was the retail side of Lennar.
Mhm.
They got it right. They really what it was is Lennar. They are a builder, so they do have mortgage in their DNA, but they're not a mortgage company. So they didn't follow the normal. Hey, maybe next year you'll do 125 million. We sat down at a table. We had I think I had a pina colada. We were just sitting there talking, and they just started asking me about emotionally about my family and stuff. And I was like, I mean, it was very different. And they were asking me to step up to even a higher position. But it wasn't, it just, I mean, of course, ultimately it was numbers, it was economics. But that's not what they were there to discuss. I think they were trying to fulfill another section of my life, which it made an impact on.
Yeah, and I think that's really impressive. And for leaders that are listening to this, I think it's a great call out because as a company grows, as you start adding headcount, as you make that decision corporately or what have you to really go all in on the growth side of things, it's easy to forget the human element of what you're trying to do, right? And to get caught up in the number side of things and to look at things from a spreadsheet perspective versus really just staying close to the people and fulfilling those needs and making sure that it's holistic and not just about the numbers all the time. And so you went on a good run recruiting wise. You hired 46 people in 3.5 years once upon a time. And I
Yes.
know a lot of people would want to hang their hat on that and take all the credit. But I really love that you were willing to spread the wealth around with that and know it was a team effort. Like, do you mind walking us through what that system looked like? Because I know a lot of people would love to be that successful on the hiring front, and I'm just curious, what were the elements that made that work?
Well, I don't think any single individual could accomplish that. And if they could, I think you'd have a lot of fallout anyway. Because once you get those people on, there has to be a team to take care of them and move forward. But I used a team just to get myself actually to that spot. And what I found is I don't think branch managers are good production people, or they're good recruiters, or they're good technicians, or they're good managers. You're not going to find people that are everything. What I found is I had the gift of gab. I'm not going to bullshit anybody. I'm going to sit there and tell them the truth. So what I found, the formula that worked for me is we had a recruiter, and what I asked the recruiter was, don't sell the company. What I need you to do is just get me to sit down with somebody who's having a difficult time at the. I made a commitment to the. I had two callers. I had a commitment to them that I would meet their recipient within 72 hours. The territory was from Virginia up to Massachusetts. Now, we were working for Lennar. Lennar basically was like, if you find a good recruiter, good branch, we'll fly you, or I drove, either one. But I was there within 72 hours. I asked for them to, if I was going to be in a further out area, I'd ask to set up maybe 3 appointments. But if we had a branch, it was really important I was going to be there within 72 hours. When people are feeling a lot of pain, they want answers right away. It's built in our industry and our DNA. The loan's denied. I need to fix this or stop the pain right now. It's not like, yeah, maybe in a week we'll get on it. I mean, we make fun of our clients that they want answers right now. We're the same way. We want to fix their loan. We either want to have it submitted and run through very smoothly, and if there's something that we did wrong or something maybe the staff had done wrong, we want it fixed immediately. Well, so do the recruits. There's a pain that they're feeling, and it's like any other kind of relationship. It did not happen that day. It's been building up. There has been a straw though that broke the camel's back, and you just happen to have a caller that was on the phone. So within 72 hours, I was gonna sit across the table from them and talk to them. And the first plan was I was not going to pitch them on how much I was going to pay them or do their P&L. There's nothing like, you want to discuss what's bothering you and what this company does differently. I want to see A and B. What do you guys do differently? How can I not run through this same problem? Which I think most mortgage companies are like, hey, let's get your numbers. We're just going to do a P&L right now. We're going to figure out if you make money. If I didn't make money, they would have fired me. So that's kind of my thought. And plus, we have a lot of data now. Like I already know what you do for production, right? I mean, the only thing I don't know, the only X factor is how much are the CEOs of that company? How much do they tick up the margins? So maybe I don't know what the revenue is, but I know that there's revenue there. So I think the first conversation now you could, if they ask to move into the next phase of figuring out money, yeah, that's something that I'm absolutely, and you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared to talk about it. If you're like, oh, I got to get back to my manager, that's wrong. You need a solution because that's what they're looking for. They're solution-based people. So you're sitting across, you figured out that possibly you can fix the problems that they're running through. And then what they need to do is everything needs to be verified. I'm a salesperson. We are in an industry where most guys are very cynical. They're like, you're a salesperson. You're going to say yes to everything. Yeah, we do that. Yeah, we do that. And that's not the truth. So what I used to use our operational staff to verify everything that I said. So I would invite them either to drive, fly, or whatever, and come to our office. That day that they were there was not a sales day. They were mostly talking to whoever they wanted. But we had a very talented operational manager who used to be in sales, and she knows the pain of loan officers. I had a recruit go out with an underwriter for lunch. Now, generally, that would be the most boring lunch you can think of. He had already signed his commitment with a different company. When he came back from lunch with the underwriter, he's like, I'm moving forward with Eagle Home Mortgage. So I believe as a team, so we had the caller, we had myself that had to be there within the 72 hours. And then we had a follow-up to verify everything that I said. And that's...
Yeah, I think that's a great process. And it walks someone through a journey that validates what they're getting from their future, leader, manager, through someone who's got, who's going to just shoot them straight. And, it shouldn't always be everything you want to hear. That's a huge red flag if you're asking me. Like friction in the recruitment process is healthy. I think, when you encounter friction, that's where you're getting honest answers. And then you can work through those things and you get to see how someone would work through friction if you were working with them at the same time. And so it gives you kind of a full picture of what your future might look like. And
I also believe,
so I think it's great.
Something that you should organize with your corporation or your company or whatever it is that you should make a plan to re-recruit your new recruit 3 to 4 times within that year. It should be out to lunch. Hey, is there anything I told you that wasn't true? Is there anything that bothers you? Listen, not all companies are perfect. We're still in the mortgage industry and nothing's perfect. So there are going to be things that are going to bother them. By them expressing what's bothering them, brings that to a manageable, hey, listen, we're in the same industry. We're in this together. I'll help you out. It is when Mike said this place is going to be great. And you know what? This place isn't great. Well, A, it's not great because you don't even know where to go yet. You don't know what doors to open. You don't know who's that. We all have operational managers and underwriters. We all have our favorites in the industry. We know who to go to. We know not the easy answer. Sometimes it might be no, but you're getting it quickly. So I think you need to re-recruit your individuals because you're not really friends. You're not brethren right now. He or she has just come on. They don't know. Like they think they know me. They think what I told them is the truth. Now they need to know it. So I think you need to do the lunches. And it's just as important as the money that you pay to recruit them and pay them.
Yeah, that's a excellent call out there, and something that I think should be put on the calendar with that new hire day one,
Yeah.
and say, yeah, 2 weeks from now, let's meet for lunch and let's talk about your first 2 weeks. You want to catch those challenges, those issues early and solve them immediately so that they don't fester. Kind of to what we talked about early on in this conversation, this industry has a habit of sink or swim and sort of letting people be to their own devices. And if someone's suffering in silence and you don't ever, get to the bottom of that, they're going to count down the days before they can
Well,
get
yeah,
out of there.
they're if you call a lot of loan officers that are extremely like unhappy, they've taken a check from one of the large guys. They'll
Mhm.
tell you the month that they're done. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
if that's on the
Tell
top
me
of
in
their head,
October.
yeah, if that's on the top of their head, things that aren't going well. And I don't understand at the top of the house, like I would almost make it a requirement, like you need to re-recruit this person like 12 times because I just wrote a check for 300,000 for this large producer. Now, this large producer is going to write a lot of loans no matter where they go.
Mhm.
But what's going to be different is they're going to be happy here working, and we're going to make their life a little bit easier.
Right.
And the only way you
Well,
figure
and
that out is with communication, not emails, not surveys, not HR, not marketing. It's got to be the branch manager, the area manager, the regional manager, whatever manager that establishment has.
yeah, and you can't assume that the loan officer is going to bring their concerns to you,
Yeah, oh, they're
or that they're
definitely
going
not.
to speak up. And so, yeah, I think you've got to meet them where they are and nip it in the bud, or just celebrate what's going on. I mean, it could be, those meetings could be incredibly positive as well. Like, man, it is everything you said, and this is great, and that's great, and and then it's very affirming, and but they feel seen and heard and cared for, and it goes a long way for sure.
I think you have
One,
two types of LOs once you recruit them. You have the ones that will tell you the day that their their sign on bonus is over with, and then you have the ones that are quite happy and content that they made the decision to come, and then they become your recruiters. Successful loan officers tell other loan officers, "Hey, this place is great. Hey, Mike does a good job," or "Hey, Mike's an asshole." Whatever it is, they're going to express exactly how they feel and how things are going. So you can turn them into an extremely happy loan officer for your area.
yeah, absolutely, man. Well, Mike, we've talked about a lot here. I don't know if I've asked you questions that you were hoping to answer, or if there was anything on your mind that we haven't gotten to, but I want to give you an opportunity at this time to kind of speak your mind. If there's anything that you think would be relevant to the audience that's listening today, or anything that you feel is important to talk about.
No, I really just feel like there's a lot of me out there that want to kind of change the feel of this industry. And I think with the lowering of production, the housing crisis, higher rates, I believe that the industry has an opportunity right now to really transform themselves into kind of what I was discussing. I mean, I'm obviously not the smartest guy in the industry, or else maybe I'd be a CEO. But what I'm saying is, I think if the industry moved in this direction as to taking care of the loan officer and actually taking care of the branch manager and giving them the tools, as opposed to just writing checks and hoping that they're happy,
Hmm.
that doesn't happen. I think concentrate on our professionals, and your company will really really grow. That's
Yeah.
that's
Totally agree. Well, appreciate you being here on the Lowdown, Mike. And for anyone who's listening, if any of what we talked about today landed with you, I want to point you towards two things. First, the Lowdown Mortgage Community newsletter. It's weekly content built for producers who are ready to build something bigger. You can subscribe there at www.lowdownmortgagecommunity.com/subscribe. Second, If you're in the 8 to 15 loans a month club and you've got a feeling that something in your business needs to change, but you can't quite name it, take the Lowdown Diagnostic. It's 3 assessments, 5 to 10 minutes, and it gives you a real dollar figure on what your current setup is costing you every month. Those that have taken it have shared how well it uncovered what was happening in their business and appreciated the recommendations it provided for what actions to take next. Check it out for yourself at lowdownmortgage.com/diagnostic. Both links will be in the show notes. And Mike, thanks again for being here, and appreciate everything you had to share.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
You bet.